Big warm welcome back, ladies, to the Motive Racing channel for season 5 of the GTE Championship. Here we're at the Dubai Autodrome tonight for the season opener. We're looking forward to this one. Should be a fantastic season. Once again, we've got some of the best of the PlayStation 4 GTE racers here out on track tonight, and we couldn't be more proud to showcase these lads out on track. Hopefully these guys will all be keeping it as clean as possible, and we'll have the best possible action to bring you. Currently got Fusticiano out on the track at the moment. Fusta finished in 3rd position last season in GTE Tier 2. Top 5 from Tier 2, ended up getting promotion. This season Tier 2 not being run due to a few things. Obviously Project Cars 2 now no longer being the latest installment on its series. Project Cars 3 not being the game we'd all hoped and anticipated for in the build up to it. So sticking around on this old gem Project Cars 2, which unfortunately the interest for is just seeming to wither down a little bit. Having said that though, we did still get in excess of 70 people at 7-0 signing up for our championships for this season, so there's definitely life in the old girl yet. But Fusticiano, as I said, finished 3rd in last season's GTE Tier 2. He'll be looking to impress on the big stage for this season, and I'm sure giving this one his absolute all. Got Flaky 67 out there at the moment. Flaky returning to the Motive Racing League after a bit of a hiatus. He was with us for season 1, left for a few seasons, has come back and is here to prove a point as well. He was racing in the LMP2s towards the back end of last season, and he did a very good job in that. I believe he picked up a win or two. I might stand corrected on that one, but I believe he did. But he's got pace pretty much across the board in any category that you put him in. So once again, we're looking forward to seeing how he gets on over the course of this season. Also got Ronpo out there at the moment. Ronpo, one of the others who was well, he was racing in Tier 1 last season. Actually, he was racing in the top league, as you would have seen throughout the course of last season, and ended up in 7th in the championship. Had a best finish of 5th, which he did. Both of his 5th place finishes happened at Donington Park in the sprint and feature races. Had a great performance at that track. Also picked up a 7th at Nürburgring in the sprint race and Brands Hatch in the feature. But consistency really helped Ronpo a lot throughout the whole course of his last season, and a good championship finish for him. Cinderella Tour out there at the moment, finished in 7th place in Tier 2 last season. Ultimately we had a couple of dropouts in Tier 1, which meant we were taking on a couple of extra guys from Tier 2, so Cinderella Tour was lucky enough to get the call up. So now's his chance to really show what he can do. But last season his best place finish in Tier 2 was a 4th place at Algarve, so he really does have a long way to go if he's going to be able to challenge amongst these Tier 1 guys. As I said, he hasn't finished on the podium in Tier 2, let alone Tier 1, so it's a big step up for Cinderella Tour, and we'll see how he copes with it tonight. Also got Maz out there at the moment. Maz is our champion of Tier 2 from last season, and he had a glittering season. I mean, he was in a world of his own. He took 4 out of the 6 races. That's the victory, by the way. He was 2nd in one at Algarve, and unfortunately, due to a little bit of reckless driving at Spa, he was actually disqualified from round 2 of the Tier 2 championship last season. But he dusted himself off pretty nicely from that and took 3 of the next 4 race wins for the rest of that season, so it didn't seem to have bothered him too much. But we're looking forward to seeing how Maz gets on in this season, because last season in the last couple of rounds we did actually merge Tier 1 and 2, and he was definitely giving G a run for his money. So the only G is not going to have this one all to himself this season. We hope and pray that Maz and guys like Zande as well will be giving him a fight. Zande was out of sorts a little bit last season in Tier 2, finished down the order in the championship standings. We know he's got talent because he won the Tier 3 championship a couple of seasons ago. He ran away with the title in that season, but last season, as I said, out of sorts doesn't even begin to cover it. He didn't finish. In fact, no, he finished in two of the races last season. Both of them were 8th place finishes. He showed potential. He always was up there in qualifying, but the race go his way. But he's currently showing his potential at the moment. Just 0.2 of a second off of that top time being set by the only G. So fingers crossed we see a good performance from KRBR Zande tonight here in this Tier 1 opener. Got Dwayne Bop out there on the track at the moment. Dwayne Bop was our Tier 2 runner-up last season. The best place finished of 2nd place in the season finale at Silverstone. Also managed a 3rd place at Brands Hatch. And before we started merging the 2 tiers, he did manage a 5th at Donington Park as well. So definitely got the credentials, well worth his chance in lights this evening and this season even. Got the Flying Dutchman Ugbar out there at the moment. Ugbar, consistent as you like in these GTE cars. Over the last 4 seasons he's always managed to keep himself his head above water in that top 10 spot, and last season actually managed a career best P6 in the championship with a seasonal best of 3rd in the sprint race at Brands Hatch. Had a chance to win the feature race that evening, but unfortunately a couple of mistakes near the end of the race cost him that opportunity. Currently sat P7 at the moment in this qualifying session. He's 2.3 seconds off of the ultimate pace at the moment. We see Fustaciano coming over the line there in the background, coming over with a 1 minute 54.7, a second off the pace. And ladies and gentlemen, This man here, Cinderella Tour, I mentioned a little bit earlier on how he's still yet to take a podium here at Motive Racing, and that's not in Tier 1, that's in Tier 2. Last season raced in Tier 2 for the entire season, never managed to finish in the top 3, is currently sat on provisional pole position. I don't know where this has come from, but Cinderella Tour has absolutely ragging that Ford GT around as he, you can see he's on the limit there, has a bit of a spin as he comes to the end of the straight, but he's on fire tonight as Cinderella Tour. I don't know where this pace has come from, but he's looking in ominous form, 6/10 at the moment. It's his gap to the only G in second. The reigning champion is very much up against it here in this session. He's got a 10th back to 20 bop. Zande in 4th at the moment, Foster in 5th in this session. We've got Emo Guy, the Flying Scotsman. Last season was plagued by a few personal life issues, which meant his ability to turn up week in week out was somewhat compromised, but he's back in his beloved Ferrari from season 1, and we're looking forward to seeing a very, very good performance this season from Ian. We spoke to him briefly in the build up to the race. At the end of the free practice session, you would have heard him chatting to us here on the stream. Commentates with us when he can as well. We'll be on the mic tomorrow night for the Tier 2 Clio race, which incidentally he is a former champion of. He was the champion of the Tier 2 Clio Cup in season 2. He knows what it takes to finish at the top of the standings. There's Ian, he's coming out of the last turn now. Currently P6 in this session, just under 2 seconds off the pace. Flash the lights as he comes over the line. He couldn't improve that time around though, unfortunately for him. We see it looks like somebody else has gone quicker here. Who's that? Ogbar's put himself in P6 there with that last lap. 1.1 seconds off of the pole time. We've got Camber out there at the moment in P8, 2 seconds off the pace. Surprising for Camber to see him so far down the order. We would have expected him to be up there at the sharp end. But let's see what he does here as he comes over the line. We've got a minute left to go here in the session. Camber comes over and he goes P8, improves slightly, up to 1.2 seconds off of the pace. Flaky has just gone into 3rd, 4/10 off the pole time. Very nice that he done from him. G has just come over the line to go P2, but he's still a 10th shy of Cinderella Tour. Cinderella Tour could be on for his first ever pole position at Motive Racing. And what a time to do it on his Tier 1 debut. This is unprecedented scenes. He's absolutely killing it as he spins at the exact same corner that we just saw him spin on the previous lap. He's not going to mind too much at this point. He's currently sat on provisional pole, pits from that position, and G's lost it, and only G has spun the car, coming through the final sector, and that may have cost him the opportunity to take pole position here for this season opener. The only G loses the back end, and possibly has thrown away his opportunity to start at the front. Flaky currently sat in 3rd at the moment in this qualifying session. He's got 4/10 to find in the final part of this lap. Does he have what it takes to get himself up on the front row maybe? Fusticiano's just put it into the barriers by the looks of it. So he's lost control. He's not going to be improving anytime soon. Zande comes over the line. Can't improve on his lap time. Stays P5. 20 Bob, Ogbar both in the pits. Camber, Emo Guy, DJ Phil, Maz, Ronpo, Smoky Devil all out on lap times. Who was that coming through the last turn? I think it might have been Ronpo, was it? Or was it Camber maybe? I don't know. Somebody was coming through the last corner there, but Flaky coming through the final sector. He's got to be the main danger to Cinderella Tour and G for this top spot at the moment. G obviously had that spin. He's out of it at the moment. The best he can hope for is 2nd place. It's all on this man here. Flaky 67 exits the final corner, driving in the Chevy. What's he going to do as he comes over the line? He can't improve, stays P3, 4/10 of a second off the pole time. Camber is going to be the next man over the line. What can he do? A Belgian driver crosses the line and he goes P4 with that one. Fantastic lap there from Camber, half a second off of the pole time. Displaces Fusticiano and Zande. So he's up to 4th place. Emo Guy looks like he's out of this one. He's on a very slow in lap there. We've got DJ Phil out there on his final run of the session. Ronpo coming up on the line now. Currently P12, well out of position. What's he going to do? He goes P11 with that lap. DJ Phil can't improve. Stays P12. Maz, last season's Tier 2 champion, is out there on a lap at the moment. So is Smoky Devil. Smoky Devil's going to be the next man over the line. Maz is just behind him out on the racetrack. These two guys, the only ones still yet to set a proper lap time here in this session, and they've left it pretty fine as Smoky Devil comes into the last turn now. keeps it within the track's limit. Oh, maybe a little bit over the curb there on the exit. Maz will get the benefit of some slipstream. Smokey comes over the line, can't improve. And Maz looked like he put in a time there. We didn't quite catch where it put him. It puts him on pole position. Maz in the last knockings of the qualifying session displaces Cinderella Tour, prevents Cinderella Tour from taking his maiden pole position here at Motive Racing. Where did that come from Maz? The last chance saloon, and well and truly delivers there. So he'll be starting this one on pole position. Cinderella Tour P2. Zande, Ugbar, Dwayne Bop, Emo Guy, Fury, Ronpo, DJ Phil, Maz. Well, Maz is actually starting on pole, so that's not right. Surely not. He definitely set the pole time at the end of that session. So I tell you what, if the game puts him at the back of the grid, that will be a severe miscarriage of justice there. And Smoky Devil lining up at the back. But guys, we're moments away from the start of the GTE season here at Motive Racing. If you like what you see, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the Motive Racing channel. We are moments away now from the go. Moments away now from the go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to go racing for the sprint race, the opening round of Motive Racing's GTE Championship here at the Dubai Autodrome. We've got Cinderella Tour starting at the front. Looks like Maz put in his lap time too late to be classified in the qualifying session. It looks like we're underway. We are green for season 5 of the GTEs. It looks like the only G got a slightly better getaway off the line. It looks like the Cinderella Tour's already got to try and defend here as they come up towards turn 1. We've got 3 wide in the background, Flaky, Camber, and it looks like maybe Foster Charlie getting involved as well. And somebody gets a little bit loose there. We saw a half spin from Cinderella Tour. Flaky up into P3, pulls alongside Cinderella Tour. These guys are side by side coming through turns 2 and 3. It looks like Flaky has got the move on the inside and up into P2. Dwayne Bot trying to fend off Fury here as if Fury pushes him out wide and gets up into that P4. Great stuff there from Fury, making gains on the first lap as we usually see from him. We saw a couple of guys getting very out of shape though in the background there. Emo Guy and Camber looks like they might have been involved. The Flying Dutchman Ugbar's down to P12 here on the opening lap. Disaster of a start for him, but the only G got the start that he needed off the line there. Got ahead of Cinderella Tour on the run up towards turn 1, and he now has the lead of the race. Flaky just managed to squeeze Cinderella Tour out there as they were coming through turn 3 and moves himself up into second place. We've got Cinderella Tour currently P3, Fury at the moment in 4th place, Dwayne Bot, Zande, Maz down to already up to P7, obviously set that lap at the end of qualifying, but looks like it was too late. And we see it looks like we got Camber being overtaken there by the Flying Dutchman Ugbar. Ugbar's up the inside and into P10. P9 even, sorry. That was great, good move there from Ugbar. Smoky Devil, Ronpo and Fusticiano at the back of the field at the moment. Currently G managing to hold off Flaky here in the battle for the lead, but Flaky is very much keeping him honest in the early stages of this race. Fury right behind Cinderella Tour at the moment in the battle for 3rd and 4th. There was Dwayne Bop and Zande right up the top of these guys as well. 6 cars currently battling over the lead. In fact, Maz is actually pulling up onto the back of these. Oh, as we see contact there between Dwayne Bop and Zande. Dwayne Bop is round. We've got a yellow flag here coming through the middle sector. It looks like Zande gets it going once again. He's been overtaken on the inside there by Maz. It looks like Fury's lost it. Who is that? No, it's not Fury. Loses the car there coming through the penultimate corner. Gets all sorts of sideways as he came through the corner. Loses time, loses positions to Maz and Zande. Oh my goodness, what drama we're seeing here in the opening couple of laps of this race. We've currently got Dwayne Bop trying to fend off Camber and DJ Phil. DJ Phil has made some fantastic progress at the start of this race. As we come up towards turn 1 now, who's going to be braver on the brakes here? Currently Dwayne Bop trying to fend off this pack here. At the moment, Camber's just keeping DJ Phil wide. And DJ Phil's round! DJ Phil and Emo Guy having some slight contact there. Set out the Flying Dutchman Ugbar to make his way through, and Emo Guy loses lots and lots of time. DJ Phil down to the back of the pack, and Smoky Devil, Fuster and Ronpo all make their way ahead of them. That is a disaster there for DJ Phil, as we see it looks like in the end Fuster making the move there on Smoky Devil, but going a little bit deep into the corner, and Smoky Devil takes the position straight back on him again. Unbelievable racing here in the opening couple of laps. The only G leading this race at the moment on lap 2 by 7/10 of a second to Flaky. Let's see if anybody's eyeing up a move as they come into this tight right-handed in 90-degree right-hand corner in the middle sector. Actually, it's considerably more than 90 degrees. I don't know what I'm talking about there, but it looks like Fury just about fending off Dwayne Bop. At the moment, we got Emo Guy still a couple of seconds up the road from Smoky Devil. It looks like we got Fuster making a very late move on Smoky Devil there, but can't quite make the move off at the moment. Has to stick behind him. It looks like we got Ronpo there. Oh no, it looks like somebody's lost it. Who's that? That's Camber there, seems to have lost the car coming through the middle sector. He's dropped down to P13. That is a disaster there for Camber. Didn't catch what happened there. I don't know if he lost the car by himself or if it was provoked by somebody, but he's lost lots and lots of time now. As we see Ronpo is all over the back of these two. Smoky Devil and Fuster Chiano battling over P10 and 11. Looks like Fuster makes the move there up the inside of Smoky Devil, and Ronpo also had a look on Smoky, but Smoky slams the door on him, which he's entitled to do. He had the racing line as he came through the corner, but Smoky Devil losing the position there to Fuster Chiano. He's up into P10. Dwayne Bop's still all over the back of Ian at the moment in the battle for 8th and 9th places. At the moment, Ugba is fending off Fury, but Fury looking hot on his heels at the moment. Let's ride on board with Fury and see what he's seeing. You can see he's a little bit too far back to go for a move coming into turn 1 just at the moment, but this has been a drama-packed race so far, and we're only 2 laps in to this one here at the Dubai Autodrome. The only G, the reigning champion, currently leading the way. He's pulled out just under 2 seconds to Flaky at the moment. Cinderella Tour, the pollster, to currently sat in 3rd. Maz has made his way up into 4th so far in this race. He's got a little way to go yet before we can get onto the podium. We've got Zande currently running all by himself in 5th place, with Ugba, who looks like he's put a little bit of space between himself and Fury. There you go, you can see there the gap. About 7/10 of a second at the moment, and extending as we go along. Emo Guy's currently got a train behind him. Fuster and Dwayne Bop now closing up onto the back of him. Right on board here with Dwayne Bop. You could see there Fuster having a look to the outside. Oh no, Fuster's lost it. Fuster spins the car coming out onto the back straight. Yellow flag, and we see there Camber, Ronpo and Smoky Devil all having to take evasive action there to avoid Fuster Chiano, who spun the car. It looked like he was trying to avoid going into the back of Emo Guy as he got onto the throttle, and he's down to P13 here in this race. Emo Guy now fending off Dwayne Bop. Dwayne Bop's looking to the right, looking to the left. He can't quite make the move on him at the moment. I think it was a simple case of Fuster being caught out there by Emo Guy. Oh no, we see a big accident here. Here in 11th, 12th and 13th place, Ronpo, Smoky Devil and Fuster Chiano seem to have had a big coming together there of sorts, and Smoky Devil manages to bypass that one, but that was an enormous accident there between those guys at the back of the field. That's disastrous there for those lads, losing lots and lots of time in the process. But we've still got Dwayne Bop all over the back here of Emo Guy, with Camber right behind this battle at the moment. This is a 3-way battle for 8th place, and it looks like Emo Guy has managed to keep it just ahead of Dwayne Bop at the moment, as we're side by side here coming down the pit straight. Is Camber going to make this 3 wide coming towards turn 1? You could see there Dwayne Bop just trying to squeeze Emo Guy towards the right, giving him the middle of that space. We're 3 wide coming into turn 1. Camber very sensibly backs out of that one as Emo Guy manages to hold his position on the inside line and just about squeeze his way into the position there and maintains 8th place ahead of Dwayne Bop. Dwayne Bop got very aggressive there coming down the pit straight, tried to squeeze Emo Guy towards the pit wall, and Emo Guy was having absolutely none of it and ended up just pushing him the other way, and Dwayne Bop looks like he's gone wide and lost the position there to Camber. Camber up into 9th place, Dwayne Bop down to 10th. Unbelievable racing here, and in the end Emo Guy survives that scare, but he's still got Camber right up his chuff at the moment. In the meantime, battle for 4th. Zande still managing to it looks like Zande closing in on Cinderella Tour for 3rd place at this point, but Emo Guy has now got Camber very hot in his mirrors here as we come down the back straight. Is Camber going to potentially think of about a move coming onto the brakes? It looks like he's a little bit too far back at the moment to go for it, but Emo Guy goes a little bit deep into the corner, which might invite Camber to have a look around the outside, but he's not quite close enough just at the moment. It's as you were between these guys. The battle is very much heating up though between 8th and 9th, as it is between 3rd and 4th. Cinderella Tour has got Xander all over the back of him now. Zande looks to the inside and looks like he might have to move here with side by side. Cinderella Tour got all sorts of out of shape there in the end. He manages to keep on to the position. But this battle for third and fourth is absolutely captivating at this point. Battle at the front. Currently G's got a 2.2 second lead over Flaky. These guys actually seem pretty much nip and tuck at the moment. 2 seconds separating them on the track. G is just being more consistent, I would say, which has allowed him to pull that gap. Cinderella Tour still defending from Zande, but Zande pulls to the right hand side. Is he going to make a move here coming towards turn one? Surely he's going to have an opportunity on the brakes. As we see Cinderella Tour going very late on the brakes, goes wide in the forward, and it looks like he's going to have to get that position up to Zande. Zande has got the move and is up into P3. Cinderella Tour, unfortunately for him, just locked up coming into turn one, couldn't take the pressure anymore. He's down to fourth. If he's not careful, he will fall back into the clutches, or he is already falling back into the clutches of Ugbar now. The Flying Dutchman is all over his rear view mirrors in the battle for fourth and fifth. Currently Fury's running all by himself in sixth at this point, and Maz down to seventh after we saw that little incident earlier on. Disaster there for him. Maz has lost so much time. He should have started on pole position, but obviously a glitch in the Project Cars 2 game meant that for some reason he started at the back despite doing the fastest time at the end of the session, due to the fact most likely that he did wait until the end. But it was really unfortunate there for Maz. Had to make his way back through the pack, got his way up into fourth place, but it's all gone wrong for him. He's now down in seventh, 20 seconds off of this man here, the race leader, the only G. So we're currently looking at Emo Guy, who's managed to put a bit of breathing space between himself and Camber. Twainy Bop has obviously dropped off those guys. We saw the incident that he had a lap or so ago. Smoky Devil sat there in 11th place. Ronpo and DJ Phil rounding out the field at the moment. But this man, the only G, has been oblivious to all of the drama going off in the background behind him. He is driven off. Not quite into the distance in this race, it must be said. And Flaky is very much keeping him honest here in this one. 2 seconds at the moment separating these boys. Flaky a tenth of a second faster on that previous lap. We saw G going a bit wide coming through the last turn, which may have helped Flaky a little bit. But Flaky more than G's match at the moment. I'd have to say, if Maz hadn't had all the problems that he's had in this race, I reckon he would be up there with them as well. There he is, Maz, just coming over the line to complete lap 5. 7th place, as I said. Emo Guy has now got Camber getting ever larger in his mirrors, looming large. That Ford is looking very feisty indeed, but he can't quite make the move. He's not close enough coming into turn one. Emo Guy knows how to defend his position and is doing so very nicely at the moment. Cinderella Tour still managing to keep Ugbar at bay, but Cinderella Tour has been going backwards since the start of this race. Started it on pole position, lost the position to Zande a couple of laps ago, looking very vulnerable to Ugbar at the moment. Fury also closing in on this pair as well. Fury only 5 seconds off of a podium spot. Zande is a little way off in the distance, clear of this battle, so let's put it into perspective. There's Zande, currently running in P3. You've got Cinderella Tour there, 4th place at the moment, trying to fend off the Flying Dutchman. Fury closing in on both of these guys. There he is in P6. Maz closing in on all of them in 7th. And here you've got the battle for 8th and 9th. We have been watching this since the get-go. Emo Guy and Camber still giving it absolutely everything. The Emo Guy doing exactly what he has to do and parking his car in all the right places in order to hold on to that 8th place. He's done a great job so far here in this race. Still Cinderella Tour keeping Ugbar at bay, but for how much longer we just don't know, as these guys coming onto the brakes here, coming in towards the final sector of the lap. We're over half distance here in this sprint race for round 1 of the season here, Motive Racing's GTE Championship. It's been an absolute cracker of a race so far, non-stop action, blink and you'll miss it, and at the moment currently Cinderella Tour is somehow managing to keep Ugbar behind him. Fury looks like he's lost a little bit of time over the course of this lap. Let's see the lap times. 56.1 from Cinderella Tour. Fury actually gained half a second on that lap, but I think that he might have lost a bit in the middle and final sectors. He was so quick in the first sector on that previous lap. And Maz is closing on all 3 of them at the moment. And Maz currently 8 seconds off of a podium spot with, I reckon, probably about 4 laps left to go. He's lapping a couple of seconds a lap quicker than all of these guys, so maybe he's aiming for a top 3. Zande looking pretty good for that top 3. He is well clear of this battle going on between Cinderella Tour, Ugbar and Fury. Zande should be good for a podium spot. It's down to what's going to happen here in the battle for 4th. and Maz, I'm sure, will be looking to take all three of these lads, Cinderella Tour, Ugbar and Fury, before the end of this sprint race. As we look back, still the battle going on between Emo Guy and Camber, and Dwayne Bot has dropped back a little bit more now, 3 seconds off of those guys at this point, as we now see Camber closer than he's ever been as they come out onto the back straight. Is he going to have an opportunity here as they come into the braking zone? You can see Ian goes defensive very early on, can sense that Camber's got a good run there, but that Ferrari has got fantastic straight line speed. The Ford is so good in the corners, but that Ferrari is more than holding its own in that middle section where it's just all about top end speed. And Ian, for the time being, not allowing any cracks to form and maintaining that 8th place. Camber giving him all sorts of things to worry about, but Ian doing a fantastic job so far in this one. Cinderella Tour looks like he's lost the position to Ugbar. Ugbar's up into 5th, and it looks like we see there Maz just giving him a little nudge as he makes his way through. Cinderella Tour holding on to that P6, but I think Maz is surely going to have to move. We're side by side coming into the last turn. Is Cinderella Tour going to get it up? He's going to throw one up the inside and keep onto the position. Fantastic driving here from our pole sitter. Cinderella Tour is not giving up on this P6 position. We're side by side here coming down the pit straight. Cinderella Tour has the inside. I think Maz is surely going to out-drag him as they come down towards turn 1. The Ferrari does have the straight line speed advantage over the Ford, but the Ford has that better grip on the braking, and you see there Cinderella Tour just pushing Maz out wide a little bit and holding on to the position. Brilliant driving from Cinderella Tour in the green Ford GT number 40, and he is not giving this one up by any means. The pole sitter has basically fallen backwards since the start of the race, but he's not having any more of that. As we see there, we see Maz driving up the inside, pushes Cinderella Tour a little bit wide. Does Maz have the position finally? Cinderella Tour still holding it on the inside. Maz is going to try and drive clean around the outside of him now, and the Ferrari looks like it finally has the position. Or does he? We're still side by side here coming down the back straight. What great racing between these guys as we see Cinderella Tour on the outside trying to make the move, but Maz is going to hold him off surely. Maz has got the move done. Phenomenal driving from both of those boys, keeping it clean, keeping it tidy, and Maz's perseverance in the end paying off. Cinderella Tour down to 7th, and whilst those guys have been battling it out, it's allowed Ugbar to pull out the gap a little bit, and he's now 3 seconds clear of those pair. Fury's in turn has got past Ugbar and has pulled away from him, but Fury 7 seconds behind Zande in the battle for 3rd, so I think Fury's chances of a podium have got away from him. He's got to be careful because Ugbar's not too far away from him, so Fury's got to keep his head in the game if he wants to hold on to this 4th slot. Currently G is just gradually extending that gap at the front over Flaky, 4.6 seconds separating the top 2. Flaky's obviously got his head down and done the work in these GTE cars. He's looking very quick, but I'm sure that these guys will have a close race in the feature race coming up after this one. We'll have an additional qualifying session. The feature race considerably longer than the sprint race, a lot more action, and hopefully we'll see the best of these guys throughout. Zande still running in the final podium spot, very solid points for him. Far cry from what we saw last season from him. He was out of sorts, as I mentioned earlier, throughout the entirety of the Tier 2 season last season, but he's stepped up to the plate here. Essentially a wild card entry into Tier 1. Currently Fury still fending off Ugbar, but Ugbar appears to be closing the gap to him. You can see it's visibly under a second now between Fury and Ugbar. Potentially Ugbar might fancy that 4th place. Maz is closing in on both of these boys now, and Cinderella Tour, to be fair to him, is not losing too much time either. These guys 4 in a line there, you can see, separated by 4 seconds on the track. It's another 7 seconds back to Camber running in 8th place, and you've got Dwayne Bot there sat in 9th at the moment. Emo Guy looks like he's had a moment there because he's dropped way off. He was ahead of Camber, but and what's happened to Fury? Fury's lost the car. Fury's had a spin coming through the middle sector. He's dropped down to 7th place. He was in 4th just a few moments ago. That has promoted Ugbar up into 4th. Maz and Cinderella Tour into 5th and 6th place, but that is so unfortunate there for Fury. Oh, that is absolutely gutting there for him. As we had some comments coming in earlier in the stream. J Palm saying good luck to everyone. Jason Bland was voicing his support for Dwayne Bop, who's currently sat in 9th place at the moment in this race with 2 minutes left on the clock. Evil Scotsman, otherwise known as Emo Guy, was just mentioning to J Palm, we are in season 5 here on Project Cars 2. Hard to believe it's gone so fast. Fury's Grandad back in the chat as always. Great to have Fury's Grandad on the YouTube comments section. A regular now here on the Motive Racing channel. I'll tell you what, if this was a pub, I would very much be serving his order up on site. I wouldn't need to ask him what he wanted. I would already know. Me and Fury's Grandad would definitely have that connection. We've also got Fury's mum saying go Fury go, Smurf J saying go Fury, go Ugbar, go, sorry not Fury, and Carl Alden voicing his support for Fury as well. We've also got Jason Bland getting excited there in relation to Dwayne Bot getting involved in some good tussles. But we've got a minute and a half left to go in this sprint race, ladies and gentlemen. We're into the final knockings of this one. The only G has led this race pretty much since the get-go. Managed to outdrag Cinderella Tour on the run up towards turn 1. Got that P1, hasn't looked back since. Has steadily increased the gap to Flaky in 2nd place. And yeah, he's driven faultlessly as G, to be fair to him. Flaky's also driven a very good race, and we're expecting more from him coming up in the feature race not too long after this. Zande, a very creditable podium finish, if indeed he can keep it there for the final lap. Flying Dutchman, Ogbar, 6th in the championship last season, currently sat 4th in this race. Be some great points for him, and he has raced in every single season, has been in this GTE Tier 1 since the very first race. He is the only driver who has actually been in the GTE Tier 1 since the first race and has never been relegated. He has driven, I think, in every single event here in Motive Racing's GTE Championship. Our lead coordinator and admin here at Motive Racing. Consistent since the beginning and up to the present day. Maz, a couple of seconds behind Ugbar. Be interesting to see whether Ugbar can keep him behind for this final lap. Maz lapping considerably quicker at this point. Minus a headlight there, Maz. You see there doing a wink for the camera in that number 51 Ferrari 488 GTE. Cinderella Tour sat in 6th at the moment. Fury, obviously with that spin that he had a couple of laps ago, now facing heavy pressure from Camber for 7th place. See if he can hold on here in the final part of this race. We've got Dwayne Bop sat in 9th. Emo Guy currently running in the final top 10 spot. We saw he was battling with Camber and Dwayne Bop earlier on, but unfortunately a little mistake dropped him out of the running for that 8th spot. Ronpo running in 11th, DJ Phil and Smokey Devil. Looks like Smokey Devil's made a mistake, and DJ Phil has got up into P12 there. We didn't see what happened to Smokey, but I'm very unfortunate there for him. Let's see where our race leader is at the moment. We've got the only G's just coming into the final sector. What's happening with Ugbar and Maz? I think Ugbar's got enough of a gap there to Maz, to be honest. Fury might find himself under pressure from Camber in the final half a lap though. He's got to keep his wits about him at the moment as Fury. But here's the race leader, the only G, the reigning champion here for Motive Racing's GTE division. Double champion. Is he going to make it 3 championships this season? We'll have to wait and see, but he takes the first race here, the sprint race at Dubai. Fantastic job from G. Flaky brings it home in 2nd to well and truly stamp down his marker as a true challenger to G's crown this season. Only 4 seconds behind him on the track. It's going to be a hell of a season, guys. Zande comes over to complete the podium. The Flying Dutchman is going to hold on here, 4th place ahead of Maz. What could have been for Maz? He should have had a pole position, but a glitch on the Project Cars 2 timing board meant that he started from the back, which was incredibly unlucky for him. I'm sure he would have been up there battling with G and Flaky had it not been for that. Cinderella Tour showed glimpses of talent tonight, got pole position, and we know that he's got the capability, but consistency in the race was found wanting just a little bit. He'll be back in the feature race, I can assure you of that. Fury in the end holds off Camber for 7th. Dwayne Bop in 9th. Emo Guy is going to come around to complete the top 10. Ronpo coming round the final sector now in the white number 9 Ford GT, minus a headlight and a bumper to boot, but nevertheless driving what is a perfectly healthy car due to the fact that we only run visual damage here at Motive Racing. Couple of comments coming in from Co-Video saying, hooray, enjoy Ebot. And also Rob M saying, go, go, go. And let us know, guys, who your allegiance is for out on the track tonight. But there's Ronpo finishing 11th place, and looks like Smoky Devil and DJ Phil are going to fight it out for 12th place. DJ Phil makes the move up the inside of the final turn. Is he going to hold on for this one? It looks like we're side by side to the line. DJ Phil and Smoky Devil cross the line together. Who got that 12th place? It was so close. It looked to me like Phil might have just about edged it there. Let's have a look. He did indeed. By how much? Oh my goodness, it looked like, oh, that's a bit embarrassing. Turns out that he was a lap ahead of Smoky Devil. No, wait, was he? I can't work it out. No, he wasn't. But it says that he was 2 seconds ahead of him, which he definitely wasn't, because he was quite clearly about 1,000th of a second ahead of him. But yeah, nevertheless, that was the race for the sprint race there, guys. It's absolutely fantastic racing on show. Well done to the reigning champion Energy, picking up where he left off here in the opening round. Stay tuned for the qualifying session, the feature race qualifying session coming up in a few moments' time. Now, the change to the format this season, it's a simple qualifying session, no top 5 don't qualify rule. Everyone can qualify for this one, and then we've got an endurance round coming up afterwards, 45 minutes with a mandatory pit stop. Stay tuned, guys, we'll be back in a moment. welcome back. We're back on live for the feature race qualifying session here at the Dubai Autodrome. If you joined us for the race one, the sprint race a few moments ago, you would have seen an absolutely fantastic, dramatic, non-stop action race, and in the end the only G took the win by 4 seconds to Flaky. But the battle in the mid-pack was where it was really at. I saw Zande bring it home in third place, but some fantastic battles between Ugbar, Fury, guys like Camber and Emo Guy as well. All of these guys giving it 110% across the course of the race. It was truly fantastic to watch. I just want to say a quick shout to all the guys who are watching us live on Facebook at the moment. We will be going exclusively over to YouTube in a few moments time, so if you want to stay with us for the feature race, then please make sure that you click the link in the comments section and join us over on YouTube, because that is where it's going to be our only outlet in a few moments time. But with that being said, a big thank you to everybody watching us live on all the platforms, both on YouTube, Facebook, and I believe Twitch. Pardon me, I believe Twitch as well. I'm not 100%. I think our Twitch stream might be a little bit faulty actually. But I just want to say another quick reminder to the guys watching on Facebook. Be sure to join us on the YouTube streaming rather, in the comments section, because we will be exclusively on there from the feature race. So from 9 o'clock onwards, essentially, we will be going over to YouTube, and the Facebook stream will be ending. So guys, make sure you get on that. 2 minutes to go until the Facebook stream will curtail. So currently we've got Maz sat on provisional pole position here in this feature race qualifying session, 0.3 of a second back to the only G. Maz looking very strong, should have been on pole position for the sprint race qualifying session, but a glitch in the Project Cars 2 game prevented him from taking his spot at the front. Had to make his way back through the pack, had a couple of calamities, and ultimately finished in 5th place in the sprint race. He'll be looking to go considerably better in this one. As I said, he's got 0.3 of a second at the moment to G. Flaky not too far behind, 0.6 off of Maz's provisional pole time. Cinderella Tour, the pole sitter from the sprint race, currently sat in P4 at the moment in this session, so still up there, thereabouts. Got Zande in 5th, Ugbar the Flying Dutchman lapping in the 1 minute 54. Solid times from him. We've got Emo Guy out there on a lap time at the moment. He's currently sat 7th in the standings at the moment. I think he's just behind Maz on the track as well. We've got Dwayne Bop out there and Ronpo. Everybody else is in the pits. Camber, Fury, Ratchet Ass, DJ Phil and Smoky Devil all sat in pit lane, not expecting to go any better at the end of this session. We've got Maz just coming into the last turn. Looks like Evo Guy's given up on his lap. He's abandoned that attempt, so he's not going to go any quicker. Is Maz going to rub salt in the wounds here? He does! What a lap there from Maz. The 1 minute 52.4. That is an absolute cracker of a time there from Maz. He improves his time, goes 0.7 of a second quicker than our reigning champion and sprint race winner, the only G. Dwayne Bop is the last man out there on a lap time at the moment. Let's see if he can improve right at the death of this session. That is an absolute let's turn that off. There we go. So that is it, guys, for the feature race qualifying session. Maz will start this one on pole, the only G second alongside him on the front row. We've got Flaky, Cinderella Tour, Zande, Ugbar, Emo Guy, Camber, Dwayne Bop, Fury completing the top 10. Then we got Ronpo, Ratchet Ass, DJ Phil and Smoky Devil rounding out the field. Here we go, guys. We're moments away from the start of the feature race, and we are green. We are underway, and it looks like Maz gets away reasonably nicely. G likewise getting a good start. Flaky already attacking from the second row, going to the right hand side there. You see him on the inside, and G tries to cover him off towards the inside, and we've got in the background Emo guy having a look at it. It looks like we've got somebody going very aggressively there to the inside. Zande putting himself in amongst it. G gets pushed out a little bit. Maz out wide as well, and Flaky has got himself into the lead coming through turn 3. Unbelievable start from Flaky. Zande side, Maz looks like he's got back ahead of Fury there and got himself into 6th. The Ugbar, the Flying Dutchman, is running in 7th place at the moment. We've got DJ Phil Camber, Emo Guy in 10th, Ratchet Ass, Smoky Devil, Dwayne Bop, and Cinderella. Accident there coming through. That looks like the final sector. They haven't even started the first lap by the looks of it. What has happened here? Goodness knows what's happened, but those guys look like they're out of it before the race has even got going. I'm not quite sure what's happened there, but Flaky currently leading the race to ahead of Zande at the moment. Zande is currently pressuring him very heavily, but not quite able to make the move at the moment. G's dropped off a little bit, and the only G spun it! The race winner and reigning champion of the GTE division has lost control of the car. He's facing the wrong way. That is a disaster there for G. He falls back into the clutches there of Fury. Fury looking to the outside in the Ford. It's Ford versus Ford at the moment, red versus black. And Fury looks like he's going to have the inside for the next corner, and it's going to get ahead of G. So Fury up into 6th place. Brilliant pass there on the reigning champion. Fury well and truly sticking it on G there. But G making an uncharacteristic error. He's down to 7th place as you see the leaders coming past the incident here between Dwayne Brop and Cinderella Tour. Now this could be controversial because I don't believe that they were under control of their cars at the time that incident occurred. So whatever's happened here is down to the rolling start procedure on Project Cars 2. Now this, as I said, could be very controversial come the end of the race. We might have to have a look and revise the way that we do things in relation to the rolling start. May have to do it manually, as I know some leagues do. But we currently got Ugbar facing heavy pressure from Ronpo for 4th and 5th. Fury still holding on ahead of G just about. Emo Guy has now got Camber all over his mirrors. These two guys were battling out in a sprint race, and they're doing so again in the feature. DJ Phil just ahead of Ratchet Ass, Smoky Devil running round in P12, and there we go. Those two guys, Dwayne Bop and Cinderella Tour, still sat stationary in the final part of the lap. Those guys will undoubtedly be extremely frustrated with how tonight's events have gone. Maybe they will be given the points, potentially they might be given the points for 13th and 14th as a compensatory for what happened. That's pretty much all we can really do in relation to that, but that is really unfortunate there for those guys. That is actually really unfortunate there. You know, there's not much we can do about that, and I think there's been calls for restarts in the comments section. Ladies and gentlemen, quick update on the incident with Dwayne Bop and Cinderella Tour at the start. I believe we're just going to go ahead with the race. Now obviously there will have to be some kind of inquiry into what's happened there, and so I'm sure that we'll, from now on in these feature races, we'll be doing a manual rolling start, because there's obviously something wrong with the computerized rolling start. So obviously all we can do really is apologise to those guys for how their races and championships have been affected in this way. They will both be awarded points for finishing in 13th and 14th respectively. Now that's not what they would have wanted, I admit, and they probably could have finished higher up than that, but in the situation that's really all we can do at the moment, and obviously we will learn from this and make adjustments in future. So unfortunately for those guys, they are going to miss out on quite a handful of points. In the meantime, we've got Flaky currently leading this race at the moment by 1.7 seconds. Looks like Maz has actually got ahead of Zande here and got himself up into second place. So good stuff there from Maz. Zande didn't seem to fight that one too hard, I must admit, as he came through. Ogbar, the Flying Dutchman, currently running in 4th. G has got himself into some clear air now. He's got up ahead of Ronpo and Camber, and he's only about a second behind Ogbar now at this point, so he's very much chasing down that Chevy. Got Ronpo, Sats P6, Camber in 7th place at the moment, with Fury 4 seconds down the road from him. Emo Guy currently sat in 9th. DJ Phil in the customary yellow BMW running in 10th place at the moment. Ratchidas in 11th, and Dwayne Bop and Cinderella Tour So back to the battle for P2 at the moment. Currently Maz trying to fend off Zande in this battle. Flaky is extending his margin at the front a little bit and very much making the most of this of a strong qualifying and start to the race. And he's got 2.3 seconds at the moment. It looks like Zande having a little look to the inside of Maz coming into turn 1, but he's a bit too far back at the moment to go for a move, and Maz is able to hold on to that position, but Zande very much not allowing Maz to run off into the distance in this P2 position. These guys have got Ogbar a little way down the road now. Ogbar's losing touch with these guys in 2nd and 3rd, and he's now got the sprint race winner and reigning champion of Motive Racing's GTE division, the Only G, bearing down on him. We're riding on the cockpit cam with the Only G, as you can see Ogbar getting larger and larger in that front dashboard there of the Only G. He's closing in on him, and you can see he's just trying to dip out of the dirty air there, trying to minimise the loss in grip, front end grip, that he will inevitably be getting in the turbulent air of that Chevy Corvette in front of him. But the Only G sticking to within about half a second of Ogbar at the moment, still not quite able to go for the move at the moment. The G is going to be losing more and more time to the leaders the more time he spends behind that Corvette, but he just can't seem to find any chinks in the armour of the Flying Dutchman at the moment. Gap at the front down to 1.7 seconds. Maz is closing the gap to Flaky at this point. Will be interesting to see whether or not Maz can really give Flaky a run for his money as this race goes on. Early stages here in this feature race. 24 laps of the Dubai Autodrome. We're only 5 laps in at the moment. And currently 1.6 seconds separating the top two. Zande just slotting in behind these guys, still sat in 3rd place in this race. And the Only G running around in 4th, having made that move on Ogbar. And it looks like G is closing in a little bit now on the front runners. Last time around G did a 1 minute 54.8. Only man who was quicker than G last time around was the man in P2, who is Maz, and he in turn is very much closing the gap to the race leader Flaky. Gaps sort of sticking at around 1.5 seconds, occasionally 2, coming through the slower speed corners. but this is very much race on between these guys, and Zande, to his credit, is also sticking to these front two very nicely indeed. Currently 3 seconds separating the top three here on lap 6 of this race. G's got the gap now to the leaders to just under 9 seconds. Ukbar still keeping G within his sights, but I don't think he's quite on the level of G at the moment. His pace is just a little bit off of the reigning champions. Camber running in P6, lapping in the low 1 minute 55, so Ukbar has got to watch out because Camber only 6 seconds behind him on the track. Ronpo currently sat in 7th place at the moment. Got Emo Guy running in 8th, Fury, Rachidas, DJ Phil running in the final spot. Dwayne Bop and Cinderella Tour both out of the race at the start. Gap at the moment currently still sat at 1.5 seconds, so Flaky doing a great job here of just maintaining the gap. Maz took 3/10 out of him that previous time around. Looks like Zande is dropping off of these two just a little bit now. He's dropped to 4 seconds behind. G at the moment is the fastest man out on track, but he's got a long way to overhaul these guys at the front. The top two, Flaky and Maz, looking in imperious form so far. Ogbar has dropped off a little bit off of G, but crucially he's maintaining the gap to Camber behind him. Gap to Camber 6 seconds at the moment. As we are on lap 8 now, so the pit window will be opening this lap. I'm just trying to get in touch with the race director to potentially, if we can get a red flag going, then we might be able to get Dwayne Bop and Cinderella Tour back into the race and just do a slightly shortened feature race, because I think that's the only fair way to do this with what's happened to those guys. It's dreadfully unfair that they were essentially sidelined from the race at such an early point in the race. So fingers crossed if I can actually get through to the race director when he comes in for his pit stop. He might. Oh no, the only G's lost the car. He's spun it here coming through the middle sector. He's facing the wrong way, and it looks like Zande, oh, Zande was already ahead of him, but it looks like Ogbar's now got up into P4. That's a disaster there for the only G. As we were just talking about the potential of throwing a red flag here with the bottom two, we will know for sure in a few moments time whether or not that's going to be possible. We might just end up having to go to the end with what we've got here. Well, don't say I didn't try, guys. I did try. But that is a real bummer for Dwayne Bop and Cinderella Tour. I do feel for those guys immensely. So G's currently closing in back up to the rear of Udbar a little bit. Currently 1 second separating these guys in 4th and 5th. Obviously G had that spin a lap or so ago which put him out of contention for a potential podium spot. We're now 9 laps in, and the further we go to this race, the less and less the likelihood of a restart. I'm trying to confer, but I'm not getting through. As we see, Udbar's pulled out a little bit of a gap to G at this point. I've got just over a second separating Flaky and Maz at the moment in the battle for 1st and 2nd. So gap at the front currently 1.3 seconds between Flaky and Maz, and it looks like Zande has made a mistake on that lap because he's dropped back into the clutches of the Flying Dutchman in the battle for 3rd and 4th. G looks like he's dropped off of these guys a little bit. In 5th place now. He's falling back off of these guys. Camber, Fury, Emo Guy, Ronpo, DJ Phil, Ratchidas have all been in for their mandatory stops now, so these guys are fueled to the end, metaphorically. Flaky still keeping that gap to Maz at just over a second. This is turning into a fantastic strategic race as Flaky gives a flash of the lights to Ratchidas, who moves well out of the way there and allows the 2 leaders to go through. So still the gap just under a second. Last lap around, Flaky responded a little bit, was actually 2/10 quicker than Maz. Currently has got a little bit in hand, I think. Has been managing the pace, but this is turning into a fantastic duel between these guys. The sprint race winner, the only G, currently languishing down in 4th place, struggling to pick off Zande for that final podium spot. Looks like he's got ahead of Ugbar though, so Ugbar must have made a mistake because he was in 4th a few moments ago. G's picked up that position. So ladies and gentlemen, just an update on the situation with Dwayne Bop and Cinderella Tour. Those guys having a collision on the opening lap that was actually no fault of their own, and due to a communication error with myself and the race director, we couldn't do a restart. I did try getting in touch with the race director on a few occasions, but obviously he does actually take part in the races himself, and on this occasion there seems to have been an error in communication. Maybe Discord notifications weren't turned on, so it's nobody's fault necessarily. It's just one of those things that do happen from time to time. So the solution to the problem will be Dwayne Bot will be awarded 6 points and Cinderella Tour 5 points for this particular race. If there are any retirements from the race from any of the guys further up, then obviously they will move up in the classification, but they will be classified as finished the race, which obviously I understand that both of those guys will firmly believe that they were capable of finishing higher up than 12th and 13th, and I fully respect that. We're trying to do everything we can to sort out this problem. Miss Maddie, again, we'll review after the race. We will make an inquiry into this, and next time out this won't be an issue. But if anybody does have any questions, feel free to shoot. I can answer them live on the air. And once again, we are really sorry for that. Back to the racing. We've got 1.8 seconds between Flaky and Maz. He's responded actually quite a lot, Flaky, in the last couple of laps as he makes his way through past some traffic, which appears to be, that might be Emo Guy there. Oh no, it's not actually, it's Fury. So Fury a lap down in 9th place, not having the best of races here in this feature race. But Dwayne Bop and Cinderella Tour, we are really sorry for what's happened tonight. I can't apologise enough to you. All I can say is I really did try to get that restart sorted out for you guys. But you will be awarded points as if you finish the race. That's all we can do. Miss Maddie in the comments section saying no. Miss Maddie, if you could clarify what exactly you mean there, I might be able to respond to you. But the gap currently 2.1 seconds at the moment between Flaky and Maz, currently extending that gap as well. Flaky has well and truly got an extra bit of it in his locker at the moment. Just over 2 seconds separating these guys at the front now. Flying Dutchman's still yet to come in to the pits. He's currently 25 seconds off of the race lead. We've got the only G sat in 4th place at the moment. Miss Maddie, I know it's unfair to them, and as I say, I really did try and get that restart done. I was trying to call the race director multiple times throughout that race. I'm not the only person who has the say on this type of thing. I am also not the lobby host. Dwayne Jones, I'm really sorry about tonight, mate, and you will be awarded points for, you'll be given 6 points, 6 championship points. Possibly we might be able to give you points for where you qualified. We'll have to discuss that internally and get it all sorted out. But next week what we'll be doing is we'll be doing a manual formation lap. So we'll do the qualifying and then everyone pulls off. We go around 70 miles an hour and then we come out the last corner, the leader goes when he wants, and we'll do it that way instead of on the automated rolling starts, because clearly you guys could do absolutely nothing about what happened tonight. So we are just, I'm really sorry for what happened to you guys. I really am. I can't apologise enough. Flaky currently opening up the gap a little bit, 1.7 seconds to Maz at the moment, lapping in the 1 minute 53s last time around. So Flaky, the race leader, is the fastest man out on track at the moment, and Maz is coming into the pits for his stop. So at the end of lap 14, 10 laps to go, trying to potentially get the undercut here on the leader as Flaky comes over to start lap 15. So Opar still needs to come into the pits. G and Zande have both been into the pits for their mandatory stops, so they are in what is a net 3rd and 4th once the Flying Dutchman comes in. It's going to be interesting to see where Opar comes out in relation to Camber though. 30 seconds separating those guys, and it looks like Udbar is into the pits as well. So we're going to find out pretty soon now what the state of play is with these two, as Maz gets serviced, and looks like he's been held in the box by a little bit there actually. Maz possibly changing tyres on that Ferrari, maybe going for an alternative strategy there. What is going on with Maz? He's been in the box for a long time. My goodness, he seems to be in the box for about 20 seconds there. So possibly it's a tyre change going on that Ferrari, maybe opting to go for a real go at it in these last 10 laps. Now it depends what Flaky does as to where he's going to come out in relation to him, but that's a bold move there from Maz, opting to change tyres, maybe putting a bit of fuel into that car as well. But Maz finds himself with G now right onto the back of him. Potentially G went for the same strategy, but then again G was already 8 or 9 seconds behind the leaders when he came in for his pit stop, so you would expect G to be about 47 seconds behind the leader due to the fact that he was about 10 seconds behind the leader when he came in. But Maz, definitely a bit of a shuffle there. Miss Maddie saying they should be awarded the same points as in the first race. Miss Maddie, I understand what you're saying. I think the very most we could offer them would be the points for where they qualified for the feature race. As we see there, it looks like G having a little look to the inside there of Maz coming towards the end of the back, and Maz goes a little bit deep into the corner, double takes and goes a bit wide, and G is up into P2. So Maz there, potentially cold tyres, catching him out a little bit on the brakes, and G now finds himself up into 2nd place. This is going to play ever more into the hands of the race leader Flaky. Question is Flaky going to change tyres? The tyre wear around this Dubai Autodrome is so heavy, and even at night the temperatures are pretty skyrocketing. So question is now, does the race leader come in and change tyres? If he doesn't, his tyres are going to be on the cliff at the end of the race, and he will have G and Maz potentially bearing down on him. It depends whether or not G changed tyres. He might not have done. Maz certainly did. He lost so much time in the pits. He was sat in the box for about 20 seconds, but oh no, Maz has lost the car! We've got a yellow flag coming through the last corner. Zande is going to pick up 3rd, but Mazda getting a bit too hot onto the throttle on the exit of the turn, and he finds himself now down in 4th place. That is incredibly unfortunate for Maz, and now Flaky is going to be licking his lips and being very excited now, because with 8 laps left to go in this race, he has got a 49-second lead. Once he comes into the pits for his mandatory stop, that should be around 15-20 seconds. So he should more or less have this feature race signed, sealed and posted. Driving in the Chevy tonight, Flaky making his return to the GTE Championship here at Motive Racing. But, oh my goodness, so this has now been taken out of the hands of Maz. He finds himself in a battle here with Zande, and he makes the move back on Zande. Zande didn't look like he fought him too hard for that one, so Maz is now back up into 3rd place. He's 5 seconds behind the man in P2 at the moment, G. But it looks like Zande's trying to fight back here as they come towards the end of the back straight. Is he going to go for a move on the brakes? It looks like Zande goes very late up the inside and back up into P3, and he has to give him the space there, does Maz. So Zande takes that position back off of him, and it looks like Ogbar's lost it. Puts it into the barriers there as he got onto the throttle. Got a little bit too heavy onto the loud pedal. Put it into the wall, keeps it just about out of harm's way. But that was very close to facing the wrong way there for the Flying Dutchman. In the meantime, the race leader has almost got 50 seconds to G. Now it depends what he does in the pits. It looks like his lap time's perfectly healthy. He must be on the hard tyres. He's making it work, is Flaky. He's driven a stellar race tonight. Really impressive stuff from him. Is he going to come in this lap? Maybe not. He's got 7.5 laps left to go here in this feature race. He's driven fantastically this evening. Dwayne Jones there saying restarting after a lap would be fine. Restarting halfway through is harsh on the guys doing well. It's hard to disagree with that. Miss Maddie, agree with that, but points should be the same as they got in the first race, not their fault. Yeah, Miss Maddie, the most we could possibly offer would be the points that they got in qualifying for the feature race. Even that would be a bit of a push. We'll definitely award both of them full points for 12th and 13th place. I admit that's not much of a consolation. We will discuss this furthermore though, and try and figure this one out. Certainly we'll make sure that this doesn't happen again. And apologies to both of the guys involved and to anybody watching who was supporting either of the two guys affected. Dwayne Jones and Cinderella Tour both getting caught up in incidents that were in no way, shape or form their own doing at all. But Flaky's still coming round in the lead of the race, and he's just put a lap there on Ronpo by the looks of it. Ronpo very sportingly moving over to the side, allowing Flaky to pick up that place. Flaky's gap to the only G, 50 seconds now out on the track. Flaky obviously still needs to come in for his mandatory pit stop, but I doubt he's going to lose 50 seconds in the pits. And we can see here it looks like Maz is being homed in now a little bit by Zande. Zande not giving up here in this podium fight. These guys coming in towards the last turn now. Zande has a little look, can't quite make the move on him at the moment. Looks like Emo Guy and Fury currently running pretty close together at the moment, 8th and 9th place. Fury just closing in a little bit by the looks of it. Actually, Emo Guy went faster on the previous lap, so maybe Emo Guy overtook him that last time around. Maz and Zande go side by side here, coming into turn one. It looks like Zande has committed himself down the inside. Maz gives him the space, with side by side, they're coming through the corner. Still Zande trying to squeeze through, and Maz has to give him a cast width on the inside there, but Zande is not giving this one up and pushes him wide, and Maz has lost the car. Maz spins it. It looks like Zande just squeezed him out of the way. A bit of a racing incident, if you ask me there, and Maz loses the position to Ugbar to boot, as well as the position to Zande that we saw. That exchange just boiling over a little bit. Let us know in the comment section what your opinion on that one was. In my opinion, I think it's just a bit of a racing incident. Zande had the racing line, gave Maz the minimum amount of space, and I think Maz got a little bit loose on the edge of the track. Obviously he was on the marbles, on the low grip stuff, and just the car just bottomed out effectively. But you see there Maz is putting a lap on, who's that? I think that was Ratchidas there. It was indeed. But Maz there losing the position to Ugbar on the track. Now a couple of seconds behind the Flying Dutchman, who in turn is 5 seconds behind Zande. Both of these guys with penalties. We're not 100% on what those penalties are. Let's have a look. So it turns out Zande has a 13-second penalty. So presumably Zande was done for speeding in the pit lane, so he's currently sat in third. That would mean that at this point in the race, let's see, Ogbar's got a 1 second penalty. If Ogbar can pull out a 1 second gap to Maz, then Ogbar will be on for a podium here in this feature race. Still a little way left to go, but if he keeps up the sort of pace that he's doing at the moment, we might see the Flying Dutchman in the top 3 in the interviews room at the end of this race. Stay tuned on this one, guys, as we come on to lap 19 here. Well, these guys come on to lap 19. This man here, Flaky, is almost on lap 20. Still yet to make his mandatory pit stop. When he does, we're expecting him to come out around 15 seconds ahead of G. So Flaky very much in control of this race. He can afford to make a tyre change and go for the bonus fastest lap point if he wants. Obviously 35 points for a win, a solitary point for fastest lap, so relatively it's not a whole lot, but he might fancy it just to rub salt in the wounds and show really what he's capable of tonight, as he comes out of the last corner now to start lap 25 laps left to go here in this feature race. Must admit, hasn't been as captivating as the sprint race. It's been a little bit overshadowed, if truth be told, due to the unfortunate incident involving Dwayne Bop and Cinderella Tour on the opening lap. Those guys will score full points for their troubles and possibly will be awarded points for their qualifying positions. We'll obviously have to discuss that post-race, but it's, again, I really can't apologise to those guys enough. And even if they were awarded points, they still missed out on a race that I'm sure they would have enjoyed taking part in. So we here at Motive Racing apologise unreservedly for what happened to them. Once again, just want to emphasise that. Zande still sat in P3. 5 seconds is his gap at the moment to Ogbar, who is in turn struggling to fend off this challenge now from Maz. Keep an eye on the penalty situation. Ogbar with a 1 second penalty. Maz doesn't have a penalty. Now both of these guys will pick up the position on Zande as it stands, because Zande does have a 13 second penalty, presumably for speeding in the pit lane. So we go back to these two battling over 4th and 5th. Camber running all by himself in 6th. He is running just down the road from Rachidas. See Rachidas there running in P10, a lap down on Camber, who's in 6th. Field very spread out here in this race. Now, just in case you were wondering if Flaky is in a complete league of his own, that's not exactly the case. He is in fact yet to make his mandatory pit stop, so when he does, that gap should go from around 50 seconds down to around 15 or 20, so not quite as one-sided as it would appear on the stream, but still a fantastic performance from Flaky nonetheless. Managed to make the most of the unfortunate luck for the only G, Zande and Maz. Ogbar in the thick of it as well with these guys. But I reckon that once Flaky does come in to make his stop, we should have probably about 30 seconds covering the top 6. So it's not a totally dominant victory for Flaky. Ogbar still managing to hold off Maz, but he needs to pull out a second to Maz if he wants to hold on to that position. We've mentioned earlier on, both of these two will gain the position on Zande once we reach the checkered flag, because Zande has a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Looks like Zande has just put a lap there on what looks to be... Is that Emo guy? No, it's Fury. So Zande just puts a lap on Fury. Fury very obliging there in allowing him to take that position. Fury's not at the best of races, it has to be said, here in this feature race. It's kind of not really gone his way. The sprint race, he was involved in a few tussles, was really giving it everything. You could see there he's had a hefty whack with the wall and is minus a rear wing as well, so he's well and truly been through the walls this evening, has Fury. I want to do a quick run through the comments as we usually do. It's pretty much been dominated by the controversy on the opening couple of laps. I want to say a big shout out to David Wrestle in the comments section. Also was our commentator for the Clio Cup a couple of seasons ago now. Did a fantastic job on that, by the way. I believe he has left our Discord server. I wasn't 100% sure on why. I did actually mean to reach out to you, David, and ask about that. But yeah, that one got away from me. But good to see you in the comments section anyway. Nice to see you back watching us on the channel. We've also got Smurf J, who is, guess who, rooting for Ogbar. I believe also Ogbar has told me that Smurf J is his mother. I didn't realise that actually until quite some time after we started racing, and I remember I mentioned Smurf J and he goes, "Oh, that's my mum." And I find that quite amusing, because there are a few comments where I think there was one comment a couple of weeks ago where it was said, "I don't know who's going to win this race, but I know it will not be Ogbar." And I thought, wow. I mean, to be fair though, Ogbar's doing a fantastic job tonight, running in 4th place. He's driven a fantastic race in this one, and he's doing a brilliant job of keeping Maz behind him so far. And these guys 6 seconds behind Zande on the track. Zande, with his penalty for speeding in the pit lane, will promote both of these guys. Question is, can Ogbar pull out that second gap that he needs in order to secure a podium spot here in the dying embers of this race? We'll have to wait and see. Ultimately, what a race, what an evening we've had. It's been action packed. The feature race has been marred somewhat by the formation lap incident between Dwayne Bop and Cinderella Tour, but other than that, we've seen some good racing, and Flaky has been the dominant force since the green flag fell, as we see him go a little bit wide there coming through the last sector, but surely just managing this race at this point. And he is coming in for his mandatory pit stop now. It looks like Flaky's tyres are starting to go off just a little bit at this point. He's been on them since this first lap. These hard tyres have done 22 laps of the Dubai Autodrome, which is very hard on the tyres. Even if it wasn't for the fact that we've got scorching temperatures here, it would still be pretty hard on the tyres. So he's done a good job here of getting these tyres as far as he has. I believe he won't be changing tyres at this point. It would be pretty much a waste of a pit stop now. With only 2 laps left to go, it would be pretty silly. So it looks like he's in and out there, and he will maintain the race lead by quite some margin, I would imagine. G here, see, he's not even out of the last he's not even in the last sector yet. Flaky's going to come out with a decisive lead. So Flaky just on the pit exit there. G is just coming through the final couple of corners now. So Flaky has emerged from the pits with a 21-second lead. What a dominant performance from this man here tonight. Well and truly stamping down his authority on this GTE division. Finished in second in the sprint race to G, followed him home, but ultimately drew on that pain of having to watch G drive off into the distance in the sprint race, and presumably made some adjustments to the setup, got the car absolutely on rails for this feature race, and he has not looked back since taking the lead early on. Made a phenomenal start, gaining lots and lots of positions off the line, and he's got 20 seconds out the front. Fantastic performance from him. G has, to his credit, managed to carve that gap down bit by bit, but obviously it's not going to be enough. Simple as that. As we see, go back to the battle here for 4th and 5th, and there's a lap car there getting all sorts of out of shape as Ogbar and Maz still continue their fight for 4th and 5th. Let's check on the penalties. Ogbar's got a 2-second penalty now, so he's now got to pull out 2 seconds if he wants to finish on the podium. Obviously he'll gain that position up of Zande, because Zande has quite a hefty penalty for speeding in the pit lane. But I don't think Ogbar's going to be able to pull out 2 seconds to Maz. You can see Maz is absolutely glued to his rear end. The question is Maz going to be able to make the move on the track? This is essentially for the final podium spot, obviously with Zande's penalty taken into account. As we see Flaky just coming on to start the final lap now. 20 seconds is his gap to the only G in second. Got Zande going round in 3rd place all by himself. Ogbar currently sat in 4th place at the moment, and he's got DJ Phil. Oh, DJ Phil there getting in the way a little bit, potentially there costing the Flying Dutchman a bit of time, but crucially Maz looks like he might have lost a little bit of time there as well. So the gap between Ogbar and Maz as we come on to the final lap is just over a second. I would say, looking at time. Well, but Maz looks like he gained a little bit coming through the final turn. So now, 7/10 of a second separating these guys. Ogbar needs to find a second and a half on his final lap if he wants to finish on the podium. Is it going to be beyond him? Or is he going to be able to find that little bit extra? Is he going to be able to draw on some superhuman strength here in the final part of this race and find a gap that is big enough to get that podium spot that he needs? These guys, Ogbar and Maz in 4th and 5th, will jump Zande in 3rd once we reach the checkered flag due to Zande's penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He's accrued 13 seconds the last time I checked. It's still 13 seconds now. See where the race leader's at. Flaky's just coming through the middle sector. Zande looks good for this 3rd place spot. Ogbar is going to take 4th on the track by the looks of it, but he will relinquish that position to Maz due to the penalties being given to him by the race director. Camber's driven well in 6th. Can't take the credit away from him. Didn't have the easiest of starts to the race, so credit to him. As we see the race leader, Flaky has got a white Ford GT just up ahead of him. That is Ronpo there, but he's not going to put a lap on him in time unless Ronpo moves over, because Flaky's crossing the line now to take the checkered flag and win here at Dubai Autodrome in a feature race. Brilliant drive from Flaky, faultless from start to finish. Brilliant job from him. The only G, the race winner in the sprint race and reigning champion of Motive Racing's GTE division, is going to come home to take a well-deserved 2nd place. He will not be very happy with that, I know G all too well. Never one to settle with 2nd place, but always very humble and gracious in defeat nonetheless. Zande coming over to complete the podium, but I think Ogbar will jump. And what's happened to Maz? It looks like Ogbar might pick up this P3, will he? No, Maz just gets it there. Maz comes over to complete the podium. Ogbar looks like he just missed out there on that podium by the skin of his teeth. He put in a hell of a last lap there. A 54.2 on that last time around. Almost managing to take that podium spot, but just missing out there. Maz takes P3. Zande P5 in the end after taking 3rd on the track. Camber comes over in 6th. Ronpo, the last man on the lead lap. We saw him just starting the last lap as the race winner Flaky crossed over the line to complete the race. Ronpo will be the last man to finish the race. Let's grab Flaky, the only G and Maz in the commentary box if we can. My goodness. What a fantastic race we saw there live on the Motive Racing YouTube channel. And guys, if you like what you see here, then be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content just like this. We're live multiple nights a week here at Motive Racing. Obviously this is the start of the new season, so it's a new dawn for us. So we've got the Tuesday nights, we've got the Clio Cup, got 2 tiers for that one. Tier 2 starts off at 7 PM, followed by Tier 1 at 8. On Saturday nights we've got our Project Cars 2 Super Saturday, which is GT3s at 6 PM UK time, followed by LMP2s at 8. Sunday we've got a showpiece with the GT3s on Assetto Corsa Competizione at 6 PM, and then a Touring Cars on Project Cars 2 at 8 o'clock. We were going to be running F1 2020, but then we had to nip that in the bud, unfortunately, very last minute, due to some complications which we're not going to mention. But nonetheless guys, a big thank you to everybody who joined us. We're just going to see if we can get these guys in the box. My friends list is taking absolutely forever to load tonight, but there we go. We've just sent out the invites to those 3 boys who finished in the top 3, Flaky, G and Maz. What a performance from Flaky tonight. Didn't realise he had such potential in these GTE cars, but he has well and truly laid down a marker and let G know that he's not going to be letting G run away with this championship. G has won the GTEs the last 2 seasons, but Flaky well and truly sending out a very bold message tonight. Maz coming home in P3. did a fantastic time there in the qualifying session. We're joined in a commentary box by Maz. Maz, you got that by the skin of your teeth there. We saw the gap to Ogbar was very, very close. I thought Ogbar just about done enough on that last lap, but somehow he managed to cling on there and take that P3. Tell us, after a dramatic and chaotic race for you, how does that feel getting on the podium?
Yes, well, after a couple of errors that I've done, I saw that Zanere, he was like 13 seconds. He had the penalty of 13 seconds.
Yeah, speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, and then Ogbar had 1 second penalty, so I guess, well, I just hang on behind him under a second, and then he got the second penalty. We got a couple of collisions, but nothing serious, I think. And
yeah.
Then I figured, yeah, I shouldn't do any more pressure, and I kept the third place.
Yeah, it looked pretty close, and there were times where it was really big. Congratulations to you for hanging in there. I thought you lost it on that final lap, but very onto that. We're also joined in the box in second in that race. He's the reigning champion of the GTE division, and he also holds quite a few world records on this game as well in the V8 supercars. But he's a first and a second tonight for you, G. Obviously, I'm sure you're going to be gutted with the second, but how does that feel? Decent start to your championship defence.
Yeah, pretty good. I didn't expect to finish second in that feature race.
No, I mean it was yeah. I mean I've got to take some responsibility for that, because I was bombarding you with calls trying to figure out the situation with those guys who did unfortunately get into a tangle on the rolling start. I was in a panic, and obviously I apologise for that, for distracting you maybe a little bit.
I think we abandoned the automatic rolling starts.
Yeah, what I was suggesting, obviously we can address the issue now on stream, I guess, but I was suggesting we could maybe give full points, maybe 12th and 13th place, or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the best we can do, though. Unfortunately, there is only so much we can do, guys, and I apologised on both of our behalves, obviously, for the, you know, that happened today. But it is what it is, you know, and these things happen. This is sim racing. This isn't real life, so certain things are out of our control. But nonetheless, we had some good racing tonight. It looked really great on the stream, and gee, unlucky with the second in the feature, but well done on the win. Congratulations
well deserved to Flaky.
Oh, yeah, he drove amazing. Yeah, really good. But big thank you to the guys on the stream who joined us. Doesn't look like Flaky's going to be able to join us in the box. Presumably he had to shoot off. So we're going to leave it here, guys. If you like what you see, then leave a like on the video, subscribe to the Motive Racing channel, and be sure to join us tomorrow evening for the Clio Cup, live from 7 PM for Tier 2 with Tier 1 following at 8. Have a good evening, and we'll catch you later.